one single chance at life. That's all we can expect and nothing more. So who gives anyone the right to destroy and steal the lives of others, especially the innocent among us?
The World Health Organization reports that 1 billion children worldwide were victims of physical, sexual, or emotional violence this last year alone.
Violence against children should not and cannot be tolerated. How many more will have to suffer before we say enough is enough?
Crime Stop Jamaica and National Bakery, in association with TVJ and our sponsors, Guardsman, Home and Things, Careers Jamaica, Grace Kennedy, Progressive Grocers and Musson Foundation present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
Child abuse was not invented in Jamaica, but for all our love of children, we have perfected the art. While we, the adults, demand justice and respect, we often disregard and trample the rights of those we have a duty to protect.
Not only do our children suffer the trauma of witnessing horrible violence, they are common victims.
Janet Cupidon-Quallo from the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund joined us recently to discuss child abuse in Jamaica on CS311. How serious is it, and what can we do to tackle it?
Child abuse is a global problem. Close to 300 million children in the age group 2 to 4 experience violent discipline. In Jamaica, we know from surveys done that 80% of children in the 2 to 14 age group experience violent discipline. Physical punishment has always been a part of the Jamaican culture. Another term for physical punishment is corporal punishment, or as we refer to it in the international development community, violent discipline. More parents are looking at alternative methods of discipline. We would like to encourage this more and more. Some parents are open to the idea of using other methods, but are uncertain of what to do. So there is a definite need for more parenting education to inform parents about alternative methods that can be used. What we propose in the Human Services in Jamaica is zero tolerance. And there are so many alternatives. One can consider time out, withdrawing privileges. Somebody said to me once, poor children have nothing, so how can you talk to parents about withdrawing privileges? Kids everywhere enjoy some activity. Cutting short playtime, that's a withdrawal of privileges. And you know, the important thing about discipline is that you need to know your child and know what works for your child. When you look at the parents who end up in accident and emergency, very few of them ever meant to hurt their children. But in a moment of anger, a parent will grab something, administer the discipline, which turns out to damage an eye, a limb. Also, short and long term, is a whole issue of humiliation, because there is a psychological aspect to physical punishment. It does shame the child, especially if it's administered in a public space. It also teaches the child that violence is a solution. That thinking carries over into adulthood, and it plays out in situations that are really detrimental to the community and the nation. A part of the reason why Jamaica faces problems with violence today is because our children for generations have been taught that physical violence is a solution. Many parents make mistakes because of ignorance. When they understand how to better interact with their children, then there are better outcomes for the family. We have a few organizations, government entities which receive reports of child abuse. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, formerly the Child Development Agency, CISOCA, the Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse, which is an arm of the police force, the Office of the Children's Advocate. If you aren't able to reach those entities easily, your nearest police station. There are also agencies out there that will support victims of child abuse and help parents to help their children. The Victim Support Services of the Ministry of Justice, Rise Life Management, Children First, several NGOs such as E for Life, which give that sort of support.
That was very informative. I hope many of you will now consider the alternatives. And now, our featured crime.
The morning of Thursday, January 26, 2017, West Heroes Circle, Kingston, on Eve Lane. The lifeless body of 13-year-old Roshane Smith was stumbled upon by residents and reported to the police. Roshane's hands were bound and his shirt was pulled over his head.
Roshane Smith had just 4 days left before he celebrated his 14th birthday, and after that, many other milestones ahead. First girlfriend, graduation, first job, a whole lifetime.
Who would possibly want to steal that future from a 13-year-old boy? Those are the questions his family and friends possibly ask themselves every day. Who took Roshane and why?
So the night, the Wednesday night, me day in the house and I feel like I can't sleep. I get up and I start clean up and fix up and clean up and fix up all some things in the place I never touched before. I just find myself start do some work where never necessary. Then I go down the road the morning. Call that morning when I go down the road, it come like I want to go and I don't want to go. With the pitney them. So when I go down there, by the time I stand up there, I just tell her, I said, "Where you not see Roshane?" She said, "No, she not see Roshane now when I feel walking." I see one radio car company one way. And I see the policeman come and say, "Come in the car and then come up here." And when he come up here, never have to come off of him. If I see him foot, I know see Roshane gone. And I don't know myself from this again until I end up at KPH. Then cheat me and then send me back home. Roshane grieve me, Roshane should have dead, but him not here. If Roshane not here, Roshane would have still alive until today. Yeah. I don't see no company lead him astray, but we never see him with none yet. Yeah, Roshane shouldn't go like that. Roshane at 13 when they take him life.
We may use every excuse to assume that adults who are killed are somehow to blame for their deaths. But there is nothing that can explain the murder of a child.
Crime Stop is offering a reward totaling $150,000 from its Violence Against Children Reward Fund for information leading to the arrest and charge of the perpetrators of this crime. Fear changes nothing. All our tears cannot right the wrong. We need to act. Call Crime Stop at 311 and let us solve this crime.
Jamaica's Child Protection Agency reported well over 10,000 cases of abuse of youngsters in 2017, many of them suffering treatment that can only be described as torture.
Often at the hands of parents, some in the name of love, others in the name of discipline. Child abuse is considered an epidemic in Jamaica. Did you know?
Globally, every 7 minutes an adolescent is killed through violence. Here in Jamaica, the statistics are equally alarming. In the first 9 months of 2017, 47 Jamaican children lost their lives to murder. It is reported that 8 in 10 of our children, ages 2 to 14, have experienced some form of violent discipline. And among 10 to 15-year-olds, 24% of girls say that they were forced to have sex on their first sexual encounter. Crime Stop Jamaica has established a fund to assist in stamping out violence against children. Rewards of up to $150,000 are offered for information that leads to the arrest and charge of those who wound, rape, murder, or commit incest and carnal abuse of a person under the age of 18. The Sexual Offences Act establishes that sexual intercourse with children under 16 carries a sentence of life imprisonment. Violence against them or abduction can mean imprisonment of 15 years. Even small acts of abuse can lead to physical impairment and negative behaviors in our youth. Teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, anxiety, depression, suicide, and worse. We all get one life. Let's make sure our youngsters get the chance to live it.
People disappear for many reasons, and we need your help in finding the following missing persons.
An Ananda alert has been activated for 13-year-old Anna K. Powell of Grange Pen, Lilliput in St. James. She has been missing since Sunday, December the 3rd, 2017. She is of dark complexion, medium build, and is about 168 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. Anna K. was last seen at the Falmouth Market in Trelawney at about noon, dressed in a black merino, black shorts and a pair of blue slippers. An Ananda alert had been activated for then 17-year-old Shian Suarez of Bowens Gate, Moko in Clarendon. She's been missing since Friday, May 12, 2017. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and is about 168 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. Shian was last seen at home wearing a blue blouse, aqua pants, and a pair of pink shoes. All attempts to locate her have proven futile. An Ananda alert had been activated for then 14-year-old Tashina Salmon of Upper Ivy Road, Kingston 5. She has been missing since Monday, August 7, 2017. She is of brown complexion, slim build, and 160 centimeters or 5 feet 3 inches tall. Tashina Salmon was last seen at home wearing a black dress and a pair of black slippers.
Please help find the missing. Watch That Scam is next.
Who is going to kill you?
Honey, hang up the phone.
Honey, this child needs our help.
What happened to our parents? Hang up the phone.
I was coming home from school and this man just grabbed me and pulled me into the bushes. I'm so afraid.
Oh gosh, did they hurt you?
No, but I'm scared. And if I don't get them $50,000, they're going to kill me.
Honey, we have to help.
The only thing we have to do is call the police.
What the hell the police can do? Suppose it was our child.
We don't have a child.
$50,000. Listen, my child, tell them that we are going to pay the money.
Okay, thank you. And they're going to text you the information where you need to drop off the money.
Okay.
Selassie.
Don't tell me that you is buying that story. You know something? You are just too tight-fisted when it comes to money. Huh? Suppose they killed this child and we could have saved her.
Selassie. Listen to this. The mastermind behind the popular child kidnap scam has been arrested. Carlos Bryan, alias Tutu, made calls pretending to be a kidnapped child. His scamming days are over. Now, what do you think about that?
You mean he was a scammer for true, Mom? Oh, gosh. I feel away.
We all want to be of assistance to others, especially children. But why would they call you and not the parents? The best way to help in a situation like this is to call the police. Never pay money to persons claiming to be kidnappers or kidnap victims. I know everything that soak up water, a sponge. Don't be scammed.
Hear the Children Cry is a local voluntary organization dedicated to safeguarding the interests and rights of our children. Now over 15 years after its creation, founder Betty Ann Blaine tells us about her dream for a child-friendly Jamaica.
So we are a non-government organization, charitable organization. Advocacy is our main role, but we do programmatic work. And right now we're the only Jamaican NGO working almost exclusively on the problem of missing and abducted children. We've been doing this for 10 years, since Ananda Dean, perhaps the most well-known case in Jamaica, after whom the Ananda Alert is named. In fact, we named it. Ananda was a child who was very close to us. She was a part of our program. And so when she went missing, we decided that we needed to really ramp up this issue of missing children, for people to be more aware, Jamaicans to be more aware of this problem of missing children. And then we began to look at how we would address it. And we encouraged the government to introduce this rapid response system, which is the Ananda Alert. The minute a report is made, whichever part of the country, that report is made to a police station, it is then transmitted to Central Communications Network of the police, and then it goes across the country to all police stations and so on. A lot of children go missing in Jamaica every month. On an average is somewhere around 130 reports. Most of them are runaways, and most of them come back home. But they come back home with a variety of problems, emotional issues, other social issues. When they go missing, they don't attend school. So you have kids that go missing for 6 months or longer. When they come back, some of the schools don't even want to take them back, because I suspect that the schools don't know where to place them. So that's our main program. And our aim, is to reduce the numbers of missing children. Although most of them come back home every single month, we have somewhere between 15 and 20% of children who are unaccounted for, which is why we believe that we have child trafficking in Jamaica. But we're of the view, we believe that some of these children have been trafficked, and probably trafficked outside of Jamaica. We're not 100% sure. And some of them, the girls, get into the sex trade. And so a part of our work is to track this problem. We've been doing it since Ananda Dean was murdered. And we decided that we would focus on this problem of missing children.
Do we really hear our children's cry? Recently, the body of 14-year-old Yetania Francis was found not far away from her home, partially nude, chopped, burnt. Another stolen life in a society that doesn't seem to care.
How much longer? It's time to speak out in the name of our children.
They can only walk free if we let them. They can hide for only so long. Someone must have seen or must know something about the whereabouts of the following wanted men. Watch and act.
O'Neill Cunningham, otherwise called Biggs, is wanted in connection to a murder committed in Ferry District, Kingston on June 1, 2017. He is 6 feet tall, thick build, dark complexion, and has a pierced left ear. O'Neill Cunningham is known to frequent Barbican, Portmore, Linstead, and Ferry. Christopher Armstrong, otherwise called Shabba, is wanted in connection to a murder committed on September 15, 2017 and wounding with intent on Bay Farm Road, Kingston 11. He is 6 feet tall, about 30 years old, slim build with a bleach brown complexion, big eyes and mouth, and walks and talks strangely. Christopher Shabba Armstrong is known to frequent Riverton City, New Haven, Waterhouse, Whitehall Avenue, Macatree District, Browns Hall, St. Catherine, and Westmoreland.
I've heard them say that attack is the best form of defense. But believe me, it is knowledge that gives us power, especially when it comes to crime. Learn how to protect yourself. Safety tips are up next.
Safety tips brought to you by Guardsman.
Our children are our most precious belongings. We brought them into this world. We have the responsibility to raise them feed them, love them, nurture them, and participate in their development. Protecting them is one of our greatest responsibilities. We cannot be with them 24/7, 365, and therefore we have a responsibility to develop their awareness, develop their consciousness to safety and security at an early age. We need to get into their heads the fact that you don't go with strangers unless you're given permission by your parents. You don't let strangers touch you. You don't let them touch your body. You don't let them give you something to eat or drink if you don't know who those people are. The ability of a child to tell you their name. You need to play games with them the moment they start to speak. What is your name? What is your full name? What's mommy's name? What's daddy's name? Where do you live? Start with simple things like, I live in Barbican, and then maybe you can go on to the street number. So play games, start with the simplest and develop that trait in the child from a very early age. Also, what's also important is trying to get them to remember a telephone number. If they can't remember a telephone number, where does mommy work? Where does daddy work? Where can they be found? Their awareness of when they're insecure, they don't feel comfortable in their environment, what to do, how to move away from it, how to go and seek the security of the adults with whom they have trust and confidence. We also need to let them understand who are the people who can bring help, who can give them help if something happens. That, you know, the police officer is your number one person if you get lost or separated from your parents or guardians in a crowd. That you go and find a police officer, tell them what has happened, give them your name, your parents' name, and so on. And if they get lost, not wander away from where they were, because if you lose a child in a plaza, get them to stay where they are, get that into their heads very early. If we put these basic things in our children from the beginning, then they can only grow into individuals who are able to sense danger, know what to do when danger is around, and also they will grow in a more secure and safe environment.
Our first duty is to protect ourselves and then to shield those who can't do it for themselves. One way you can do this is by calling Crime Stop with any information you may have. Child abuse and violence leave ugly scars, physical, emotional, and psychological. The effects are often immediate and are clear to those who take the time to see.
And what of the future? Many of today's criminals or mentally disturbed are yesterday's abused and forgotten children. Today's victim could be tomorrow's killer. If we want to put a dent in crime, let's begin by looking out for our children. I'm Leroy Hall.
And I'm Deidre Dixon. Hope you'll join us next time again on CS311.